let me tell you,
Cook,
last
cook, brother.
last night as a Dolphin fan was an unmitigated disaster, bro. Like from start to finish. Like it was an unmitigated disaster, bro. It was an unmitigated disaster, dog. Like unbelievable. Like I was
Yeah,
like,
like
and you know what? And here's the thing, and not to cut you off, I was just
no, go
I have
ahead, go
someone
ahead, go
close
ahead.
earlier in the week. I had a debate with someone close to me that's also a Dolphin fan, and she was telling me how like, oh man, Tua's just bound to get hurt again. You know what I mean? Like she has like a problem with the NFL and their safety protocols and what they do for players and shit like that. Because we've seen what happened with Aaron Hernandez and other guys who have CTE, shit like that. So but I was telling her like, look, man, he was healthy last year. You know what I mean? Now, mind you, Herbie, I was one of the people who wanted them to make him play out the 5th year option. But when they signed him, it is what it is. You feel me?
Yeah, when Trevor got his contract, there was they didn't have any leg to stand on at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because you signed a dude that got drafted after me, the year after me.
Facts.
Justin Herbert got his money. The dude who who only had 7 games of quality football, Jordan Love in my draft class got money. They had no choice, dog.
Yeah, they didn't. Like, what was they basically had no choice, right?
They didn't really have a
So we
choice.
signed them.
Mm-hmm.
But we got into a debate earlier in the week, and she was just like, "All right, we're gonna see." And it just killed me, Herbie, that the way just the whole night played out, like just we'll get into it, right? We'll get into it. We'll get
Yeah,
into
for
it,
sure.
man.
We'll
It's
get into it
just
for sure.
it was
Well,
just, but
okay. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, just overall in general, if you're a Dolphin fan, it was a nightmare, bro. It was a nightmare game, like on all fronts, The way it ended, what happened to Tua, the way it was just there are a couple positives we could take away, and I'll get to those later. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm feeling
we'll
pretty
get to
fucked
them
up.
because no, we'll get to that because honestly, like, trust me. So for the people that's watching, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I ain't get a nap today, bro. We grown, right? Not having a nap as an old grown man, it's throwing me off. Like my time is off and stuff like that, bro. So bear with me today. And two, there's just so much to process. Like my mind can't handle anything because there's so many different ramifications because of that injury that we all witnessed last night. Like, what is it about Tua that he has to get concussed on national television, bro?
Bro,
Like
on Thursday Night Football.
on Thursday Night Football when the whole
Like,
world is watching,
yeah.
and because you guys are in a firestorm right now, dog. Because
Oh yeah.
everybody saw the game. Everybody's seen when his hands flinched. Everybody's seen the pincer. This is the second
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yep.
It immediately brought memories back to when it happened against the Bengals 2 seasons
Yep.
ago.
Facts.
So it's just like, dog, like, dog.
And and Herbie, what was so fucked up about that shit?
Wait. I have to get this in. I have to get. And
Go
I
ahead. Go
apologize
ahead.
for cutting you off.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Bruh,
ahead.
the worst thing that could have happened. Dog, I couldn't write that if I was a script writer, dog. He
Herbie.
throws 3 picks and he gets a concussion. The worst possible outcome happened to y'all last night, bro. What kind of sick, demented script writer is back there in the NFL offices that wrote that shit, dog? Nigga, Stephen
Dog.
King couldn't think of that. He's like, that's too on the nose. I wouldn't even do that anymore. It's too on the nose. And it happened again. It if he was having a great game, you'd be like, damn, that's unfortunate. Damn. He had the bad Tua game and then had a
Yeah,
concussion.
honestly, Herbie, he had one of the worst games I've seen him play, to be honest. And you know what? And I'm gonna say this as just a football fan. Normally, if I can understand why you threw an interception, like I'm not as angry. But you can't have 3 of those mishaps in one game, Herbie. A deflected pass, I got you. Throwing to Robbie Chosen, who you just picked up earlier in the week. You guys have no You guys have no chemistry right now. Fucking trying to throw the ball away, and your arm is so weak that you couldn't get enough air under it, and it becomes a pick six. Like, and then because of all that was happening, all the pressure, you know, Tua started pressing, and this man, all he had to do was slide, Herbie. If he slides, well, if Julian Hill catches the touchdown, it never happens, but fuck that. He threw the ball high. If he slides, Herbie, like, he didn't have to go into DeMar Hamlin's chest. DeMar Hamlin wasn't even trying to hit him. DeMar Hamlin just stood there. Tua was the one who tried to, like, initiate the contact. And then he just drops to the ground. His fingers lock up. And I remember, like, Herbie, when I was watching that, I was like, oh my God. I was just like, this is literally the worst case scenario game. Like, it's not only do you get a game where it's prime time. First of all, Herbie, and I know Dolphins Nation, y'all gonna feel me on this one. I hate when the Dolphins are on prime time, Herbie. Like, literally my whole life, some of the most embarrassing, most painful, most just like, just awful losses happen in prime time. This time, we had an awful loss and a loss that's gonna impact us maybe for the rest of the season. Like, Herbie, I'll tell you straight up, I wasn't one of those people after the two seasons ago when he was dealing with the concussions. I wasn't one of those people who say he should retire. You know, he loves football. He'll be all right. He'll learn. Herbie, after last night, I think he should retire. Like, I don't think it's, for me, watching him, like, dude, you're playing football. You ran into a nigga and you had to be taken off the field. Now you're out for 4 games. And here's the thing, Herbie, the Dolphins are in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. To it.
All right. Okay, and let me hold that thought, because I actually wanted to go ahead and get to that point, bro. So the question that needs to be asked, bro, where to go with Tua? Where do we go with Tua? Where do we go with Tua? You as the fan, you as the diehard fan, you as somebody who's been really in this for, you know, my entire life knowing you, where is next? Because me, I hear all the chatter about him and whatnot as far as should he retire, should he not retire. I'm always going to be on the side of, hey, bro, I'm not going to speak for another grown man as a grown man. I can't speak for him. I have my thoughts at this point. Like, this is 4 and 3 years. We have no idea what the long-term, you know, ramifications could be. Is it really worth it? We seen a Hall of Fame linebacker in Luke Kuechly say, nah. You know what I'm saying? First ballot
Facts.
Hall of Fame.
Facts.
Probably outside of Ray Lewis, the best linebacker I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes. We're talking about somebody who was so gifted that he ran stride for stride with Julio Jones in his prime. Like, and he said, I can't do this anymore because I kept getting concussed. So Tua hasn't made that decision for himself. If he decides to come back, nigga, you wearing a Guardian cap, bro. There ain't no ifs and buts about it, my nigga. You getting the Lego hat, my dog. Like, I'm sorry, dog. Like,
you got to.
You got to. You're getting the Lego hat, brother. But I don't know. Like, I don't want him to do something ultimately that he feels that he's pressured to do when his heart is still in playing football. So I don't know. What is your thoughts on it based on all the chatter? You've seen it on all of every show. First Things First, Fox Sports 1, First Take, everything. Anthony Pierce, the head coach, talking about he should retire, bro. So where are you with all of this, Rod?
Well, you know, I wasn't on the leg of him retiring before, but when you consider, like, first of all, you can tell Herbie after that hit last night, he has permanent brain damage. Like, his body now, that's the natural response to those concussions now. Like, you got to understand, like, Tua is someone who just had, I think, his first kid, or maybe if he just had his second kid, because I think he had his first kid last year. So regardless, he's a new father. He was recently married. You're 26 years old, my guy. And you know what, Herbie? And I totally feel your point about not telling a grown man what to do. And, you know, I feel the same way. I'm just looking at it like, if I was Tua's homeboy, like Tua, if I was talking to Tua right now, I would tell Tua, like, look, I know you love football. You know what I mean? And I would never want to tell someone to abandon or give up on something that they love. But sometimes you have to weigh the outcomes, dog. Sometimes you have to let go of shit that you love, Herbie. Just so that you can live, like, my nigga, don't you want to play with your grandkids? Like, you already have kids. Don't you want to see your kids grow up and you be able to do things with them? Like, you don't want to, like, Herbie, Tua scared me so much last night that he made me feel like one of the next times he's on the field and he takes a big hit, he might not take a big hit the rest of the season and play great or whatever. Just seeing him last night made me think he might be the first player in my lifetime I see die on the field. I don't know any football players who've died on the field. Maybe it's happened and we don't, it's not something that's ever talked about. It'd be swept under the rug. But like Herbie, I don't want watching a football and Tua gets hit and he becomes a vegetable. You know what I mean? Like, what point is it? What point do you just look at the situation and go, "I love this, but I can't anymore." You know what I mean? Like you have family, like, and you just got to get your money. You said, Herbie, I'm not even mad about that. The Dolphins, if the Dolphins have to start over, rebuild, like to me, that's irrelevant when in comparison to the life of a person. Like Tua is a quarterback, and he's a polarizing figure. People love him, people hate him, whatever the case may be, but he's still a person. And if I'm speaking to a person feeling honest about my feelings, Herbie, I would tell Tua, like if I was his homeboy, I'd be like, bro, I know you love football, but my nigga, think about your kids, bro.
Yeah,
like that shit that you got going on, like, bro, think about them.
Like that. Listen, bro. If you are a fan or whatever the hell you want to call yourself, and your mind is going to what the contract, like what is the contract ramifications are after this, nigga, go drink bleach, dog. Like that's the last thing, because it's not even
who cares,
money, dog. It's
who cares,
money, bro. Like,
bro, the Dolphins have been a lackluster franchise for years. What's 4 more years, Herbie? Like seriously. Come on, like that doesn't even matter. Like this nigga's life, bro. I wasn't a person who felt like this. My homegirl kind of swayed me, bro. Like I'm like, you know what? Fuck, like, damn. Like I argued with her, and I had to tell her. I texted her last night during the game. We were texting during the game. I was like, you were so right. I was like, I was wrong. I had to admit it. You know what I'm saying? I was wrong, dog. Like because at the end of the day, Herbie, and not to sound like a dick, I personally, this is just my opinion. I personally think Tua is a really good quarterback. But he's not great. He's not like his injury risk does not it outweighs his ability. In my opinion, like there are some guys that you might consider. There's some guys that you might consider like, you know what, man, this guy's so great, we should let him play. But then you also consider the severity of the injury. It's a concussion. It's your brain. Like at that point, bro, this is not gonna heal anymore, my guy.
It doesn't.
Like
every time you get a concussion, it's basically compound interest. So you just become more likely to get concussions. It's just that
right.
It becomes chronic at that point. It literally, well, I can't say chronic, but it's almost as if it becomes chronic. It's like
the only nigga I seen that got away from it, Herbie, was Aaron Rodgers. Because if you remember, Aaron Rodgers early in his career, he like his first 4 or 5 seasons, that nigga had like 3 or 4 concussions, dog. And then after, I guess that nigga must have hit some ayahuasca, and boom, he was straight. I don't know.
So, okay,
you know what I mean?
Here's the thing, though. Okay, say Tua wants to come back, and you can't stop him from playing football. Like, you can shut him down, but if he says, I want to play football, you have 2 options. You either have to release him if you don't want him, if you want to take it out of his hands, or you let him play. And I'm more concerned, and I'm not even going to say concerned, I'm more interested in the latter of the 2 options, because now I want to get the perspective and the psyche of you as a fan. How do you have an idea of what your emotions would be if they allow him to come back? Like, what would that viewing experience be? Because they're gonna have to be anxiety. Like every single time he takes a snap, your chest.
No, Herbie, listen.
Asshole.
Dolphins games my whole life for the most part. Like the McDaniel era has actually been pretty nice because we've had a nice offense for the most part, at least against lackluster teams. But that shit will be a different kind of painful experience because here's the other part of this, Herbie. This is Dolphin fans were so vocal during the offseason about fixing the offensive line. These niggas back fucking Greer and them talking about Greer and McDaniel talking about, oh man, like man, you guys are the ones who's worried. You're damn right we worried. Like, bro, like, listen, when Teron Armstead is not in the game, Herbie, that offensive line is full of lemons, dog. Like, that nigga makes that much of a difference. And like, he was in and out.
And on the play where he threw that last pick, he wasn't in. Which is
you had Kendall Lamb and
it's the second game of the year, dog.
Like, second game of the year, and we're already on our second left tackle and our third. Robert Jones, he started this year, but he's only our Isaiah Wynn is our starter. He's on IR. So it's just like we were already down. So you're throwing Tua out there with a third string guard and a backup left tackle. Like you're throwing a guy who like the main emphasis this offseason should have been, hey, let's make sure we get quality talent. Let's put some money on the offensive line. Like, especially for a quarterback like Tua. Like that's the part that just probably killing most of us fans because it's just like, bro. Now listen, Herbie, I get it. Football is a physical sport. Your offensive line is not going to protect you every play. But last night there were times, many times, Tua was running for his life. I'm not trying to excuse him of his bad play. We could get to that in a little bit because we've been talking about the injury and shit like that. But the injury has kind of saved his ass from that performance. But that aside, Herbie, at the end of the day, man, this shit right here, man, it's just I'm like I don't know, man. I'm like distraught. Like I'm distraught, bro. Like I feel so bad because it's just like if I see Tua on the field, Herbie, I don't know if I'll ever be comfortable. Like every time he takes a sack, I'm gonna be fucking cringing and
It's gonna
wincing
be rough,
and being like,
man.
"Fuck." It's gonna be traumatic. That's just gonna make me not want to watch Dolphin games.
It's gonna be
You know
rough.
what I'm saying?
So let's go over because there's an article that I have pulled up, and then we'll transition over to a couple other stuff that I wanted to talk about in regards to the Dolphins, bro. So let's go ahead and get this article up real quick, bro. So I got this article up, man, and ironically, it is about the contract. So it's Tua Tagovailoa's contract has no concussion clauses, exceptions, or waivers. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know what the fuck any of that means, bro. So I'm not even gonna pretend. I'm not even gonna pretend that I know what any of that shit means, bro. So yeah. I'm like, huh? Like I don't know what that means, dog. So yeah, but let's go ahead and read this motherfucker, dog. Okay, in the aftermath of the latest concussion suffered by Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, many have chimed in with an opinion that he should retire. Those advising retirement include Amazon Prime's Tony Gonzalez, Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce. As explained last night, the decision to retire would only come after he is cleared to play and decides not to. Before he can retire, doctors would have to decide that he should be cleared despite officially three and officially at least four concussions, including at least two that were serious enough to spark the fencing posture. On one hand, it's not time to talk about money. On the other hand, the money is too big to ignore. And that's the part that's just like, damn.
Two
We
hundred
obtained
million.
a, we obtained a copy of his contract to confirm that it contains the usual standard language that will put him in the usual standard situation if he were to retire from the game only 2 games into it. The contract contains no clauses or exceptions or waivers regarding concussions. The word concussion isn't even mentioned in it. I guarantee he fought for that. I guarantee he
Oh, for
fought for
sure.
that.
That was that was 100% part of the negotiations. 100%.
Absolutely did that. Thus, all injury guarantees apply even if the injuries in question are concussions. Likewise, the same consequences would arise for any other player if Tua were to choose to retire only 2 games into a 5-year contract. As noted last night, the contract carries more than 167 million in injury guarantees. Yeah, homie getting paid regardless, bruh.
He'll be good, man.
He's getting
he'll
paid.
he'll be
He
good,
got
man.
42 million signing bonus, so he got 42 million out the gate. So he already pocketed 42 million. So he's good.
Right.
Like he's good. If he
Yeah.
retires, Tua would lose the balance of the guarantees. Also, if the Dolphins were inclined to exercise their right to recover paid but unearned signing bonus money, they could seek 8.4 million each year remaining on the contract, along with 400,000 of the game if he's could clear. Blah 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 blah. Yada yada yada. The Dolphins. Okay, so these numbers are important to consider when looking at the broader question of whether he should retire. 2 years ago, retirement wouldn't have come with a massive nine-figure financial consequences. When pondering his best path forward, Tua will have to consider this. Damn. And let's see here. The Dolphins, meanwhile, face the prospect of paying more than 167 million over the next 3 years if Tua isn't cleared to play. The real dollars also become cap dollars that the Dolphins would not have for other players. Yeah, man, this is all
It's all fucked
close
up,
to
man.
fucked. It's all fucked up, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
If
all fucked
he
up, man.
if he is medically cleared, then and he retires, they could get the money. If he is not medically cleared and he has to retire, y'all owe this nigga $167 million. That's basically what that
Hey.
just said.
Yeah.